All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to week 6 here. Kind of going. This is our first of two. We'll do another one of sort of Japanese arts. We'll just kind of look at some some important arts of Japan. Again, this is a Japanese culture class. I know my background is history, so I like the history part of it. But in understanding Japanese traditional arts, I think you really have to understand the Heian period, since when a lot of these were concocted, crafted, came about. Um, so good. I think everyone got a sense of Heian from last week's reading and lectures. Hopefully now you're familiar with the period itself, some of the literature and arts that came out of that. And again, I mean, it's this court culture that really codifies a lot of music, theater, poetry, literature that will reverberate and impact Japan up to the present. So now we're good with the Heian period, and now these arts. I think it overlaps pretty well because these are the sounds that the Heian period would be, especially the music, traditional dance. This week's a lot of video heavy stuff because I don't need to listen to me talk about Japanese arts. Go listen to some koto or some taiko. The big video I do want you to watch. The other ones you can, but that video on No Theater is really interesting. One, No Theater is very much part of Japanese traditions. I think it was founded in the Heian period. But it's really interesting. It talks a lot about what exactly No Theater is. But what's also really interesting is at the end of that video, it talks about these are some of these traditions that are somewhat are going away in Japanese culture. It's really hard to bring people to practice these things because it takes so much time and effort to learn. So that's kind of one of these issues in Japanese culture today, of this sort of tradition and modernity, and the challenge there of how to maintain it. So I think that video is really, really good. So do those. The other one's about festivals. Again, I really think that this a lot of these festivals date from the Heian period as things Shintoism and Buddhism really become part of Japanese culture. And there's so many festivals. There's big, huge ones. I gave a couple videos of some bigger ones that I think are interesting. But then there's all these super fun local ones. So, if you want to just kind of explore, if a festival of that you've been to, or there's so many out there. So, if you want to learn more about Japanese festivals, and I think that's very much part of the arts. I mean, there's so much embedded in there. It's religion, it's dance, it's music, it's people. It's stories, it's tradition. So, pick one of those, kind of write about it as well. The Mikoshi one, where the video where the person actually takes part in carrying the Mikoshi around, I think is really cool. So just take those. So festivals, arts, that's part of your Padlet. Try to kind of stick with the traditional stuff for this Padlet. Again, we'll do another Japanese arts later on in the semester where there's a more modern stuff that we can talk about. So just kind of dive into one of these. And then the reading for this week, when we talk about Japanese arts, the aesthetic of Japanese arts is this wabi-sabi context of this sort of the elegance of decay, right? Sort of this beauty of serenity that it's not all over the top and crazy. That there's something about this underlyingness of a pond in fall, or two people walking down a mountain path. These kind of ideas. So it's very much. We see this in art, and the video reading I think really talks about that. And I gave a video about wabi-sabi as well that really sort of explains this concept, what it's about. But we'll see it everywhere, and it really overlaps a lot with Zen Buddhism that we'll get into a little bit later. This idea of impermanence, that nothing's always the same; it's always changing. So we'll talk about that as the class goes. But I think when we're talking about traditional arts and Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi is very much embedded in that. Cherry Blossom Festival. I mean, that's it. For this fleeting moment, you have these beautiful cherry blossoms, and then they fade away. And there's the beauty in the fading away. There's a beauty in there's an art to the anticipation of these and reveling in the beauty of these cherry blossoms, but then they're going to go away, and that's there's a beauty in that too. The impermanence of those is very much this wabi-sabi idea. there's the element that if you break something, I don't know if I talked about it in this lecture or not, but if you break a piece of pottery, you can then inlay it in gold, and you fix it with gold, which makes it a different cup or mug or plate, but it's more beautiful in a certain way because it's been gold has been put in there. So very interesting. I think it's a core concept to understand. And which might be on the very, if you're into like a manga or anime, which is like crazy and colorful and all these stuff. I mean, there's wabi-sabi is, and that's part of Japanese culture as well. But wabi-sabi is more the subtleness of nature. So yeah, I think that's it for this week. Again, I gave everyone their comments back on Heian. Thanks. Hopefully you've read a little bit of Tale of Genji or the Tale of Heike and kind of have a sense of those, what those stories are about. Yeah, and then just pick an art that you're interested in and want to learn more about. Throw it on the Padlet, and that'd be great. I think that's it. Make sure your name's on the Padlet, and also I think I've got it figured out. So if you just type in the title of your Padlet into assignments, that'll you won't get an announcement. Hey, this assignment's due, and you don't have to try to upload anything from Padlet. I think I got it figured out. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully. Anyways, have a good rest of your week.